Hey guys, John here. Hey, I just want to let you guys know with the events that happened today, over the Ukraine. I just want to say our thoughts and prayers are with the victims of Ukraine. Our thoughts and prayers are also with the United States Army and the military. But further ado, we're not going to do an intro this go round because of the fact with the events that happened. I figured it would be a lot more respectful to the people over in Ukraine and also to our military soldiers that are serving to not having an intro video. So, with that being said, I hope that everybody enjoys our review of Lilies of the Field.
Yes.
Press the wrong button. Okay, there we go. And everybody, welcome to the show, Rossie Mccree. Say hello to everybody. Kind of froze. But okay, so this is something that I really have to say about this movie. With Lilies of the Field, this is my first experience actually checking this movie out. Of course, everybody also knows I haven't seen that many Sidney Poitier movies or anything like that. So, seeing this film for the very first time was very intriguing for me, and especially whenever you first see Sidney Poitier's character Homer, who happens to be a jack of all trades person who's an architect, and he breaks off on the side of the road. You're not sure where the plot is going at first because I went into this thing with not knowing what the plot was about. So, he goes up to this church and and these nuns have been praying for somebody to fix them a chapel, and they think that it's God that sent this man to do the chapel. All he wants to do is he's just traveling through. He just wants to get some water for his radiator. He doesn't care about what's going on or anything like that. He just wants to go ahead and move on with his life, and that's it. Well, the nun winds up deciding to hire him to fix their roof at first. And Sidney Poitier's character, which his name is Homer Smith, and Homer winds up getting on top of the roof and fixes their leak that they've been having. And so this is what I thought was funny. He goes, "Okay, not a problem. I'll fix your leak. I'll fix it." He gets his little apron on and everything, goes up there. I thought this movie was clever, and also too, you're dealing with Roman Catholic nuns too, which is a whole lot stricter than our North American version of being Catholic. So that's also another thing I really liked. But I'll let you go on ahead and give your thoughts on it.
I haven't seen this movie in, gosh, years. So I watched it this morning and I put it on, and, the scene where he's, like you said, he's, on the side of the road, he runs into these women that are outside of this little house, in the middle of the desert. And he just wants water and to move on his way for his radiator. And so what I liked was the fact that at first, remember, you didn't know they were nuns until he, goes inside and he sees the rest of them, and realizes that they're nuns, and he's kind of stunned. There's the Mother Maria, who is the top nun, very stern woman, very strict,
strong-willed.
Very strong-willed, and they want to fix, as they called it, their chapel. Okay, they want him to build their chapel, which is their chapel. And so, Homer is like, "I'll look at the leak on your roof. After that, I'm out of here, but you will pay me." He wants to get paid. And the funny thing about it is, this man cannot escape these women. And he's tried a few times to leave, but he just can't, which is hilarious. So he ends up, staying, just for the night, just for today. And, they go and take him to, invite him in, and they're German women, so they don't know that much English. So he comes inside, and he's a very charming guy. And the rest of the nuns are pretty, friendly, other than Mother Maria, who has a job she wants done, and her goal is to get the savior that they feel like they prayed for someone to show up. So when he shows up, she's like, "Thank you, God." So she's going to do everything in her power to make sure she gets what she wants. And so the story starts, and it's didn't you find it funny?
I found it hilarious, to be honest with you.
Yes.
It's like he's a fish out of water. He's not used
Right.
to these women at all, especially
Right.
Roman Catholic women who are actually strong-willed and also is strong in their beliefs.
Absolutely.
Especially I have this in my notes. My favorite part is when Smith tries to actually talk to Mother Maria, and basically tries to persuade the Mother Superior to pay him what he's quoted. So he ends up quoting him a scripture from Luke 10, chapter 7. The laborer is worthy of his hire. Mother Maritha winds up responds by asking him to read another Bible verse from the Sermon on the Mount. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto that, even Solomon in all glory was not trade like one of these. So that quickly changed his tune as well. Because I like how he winds up trying, okay, you know what? I'm going to go on ahead and try, since she's biblically inclined, I'm going to go on ahead and try to explain to her through my American Standard Bible, the King James Version or whatever he has, and I'm going to try to teach her what paying somebody actually means. So he does, first he makes him read Proverbs, and then that didn't work. Then he turns around and makes him read Matthew, which I thought was hilarious. And I liked how also too how Smith is actually trying to teach them English and try to manipulate them.
Yes.
At the same time, and also making fun of them because one of the nuns goes, "I milked the cow," and she's so proudful.
Like, moo, and he makes the noise, and the because they were reading, they were listening to this record, and it was teaching them how to speak English, right? And so he catches on, and he's like, "I'll do it. I can teach you." So he, points to the record player and teaches them the name of that, which is telegraph or whatever they called it. Them. Okay. Then he picks up the record and he's like, "Record," and everything he says, they say. And he's like, "Black record," and they're like, "Black." And then he goes to desk, black, and then he points to a skin, black, and then they point to their skin, black, and he's like, no, you white, me black. And I love how he's making fun of them when he's like, "We stand up, everyone sits down." This movie is like, it's a comedy, guys. So it's really funny. It is a black and white. Like I said, I hadn't seen it in years, so I forgot how funny it was. Me and too. The fact that he is, one thing that you do find out, and the reason why he decides to stay, is that when he did get ready to leave that first time, remember, he stops, looks in his wallet. You see that he only has a few dollars. So he then decides, let me go back and see if I can work something out. Because remember, he thinks he's going to get paid. He thinks they have money to pay him.
Right.
He doesn't know, that it's going to be, from the goodwill of his heart that he's going to be doing this work for them.
Right. Because he's like, well, we can deduct the dinner because that dinner sucked, basically.
The bread.
Well, first she gives him a pretty good meal. And then she winds up giving a Catholic breakfast, which is just an egg and water.
Right.
He goes, "Where's the coffee at?" "Coffee? There's no coffee." He goes, "Oh, okay." But yeah, you're right though. He was only in it for the money and everything, thinking that he could hustle these nuns.
Right.
So he's like, you know what? Maybe I can. And then also too, I like how she turns around like, "Oh, you a big American man, huh? Big millionaire." Yeah, I'm a big millionaire.
I like the fact that, well, one thing that you guys have to understand is that, like I said, these women live out in the middle of nowhere. And by the way, this movie was shot on location in Tucson, Arizona. Okay. And so they're in the middle of the desert. These women were there. They got themselves from Germany to America. That's
something I wanted to talk about too.
They had to go through a lot to get to where they're at. So before he came, they were walking miles to get into town, to go to the church that they had, which was at the back of a camper. And they had, Father Murphy, I think his name was, that was, their pastor, their father at the time. They would walk guys, miles, these women. So it lets you know how strong these women are, how dedicated they are, how determined Maria is to get the chapel built. So when they take John, who sees the roof, but they go and take him to Mother Maria takes him to the where the chapel is, what she was like wanting him to build, that the bricks were halfway there. And he looks and he's like, I'm not doing this, because she's really pushy. She's like, your mom. I felt like in certain scenes, it was like a mother getting on her son, and he's like, damn it, man. You know, damn it. Like, she gets on his nerves, but she gets him to do it. So this chapel is like not built, guys. It's broken. It's halfway there. And he looks and he's like, are you serious? You know, well, I'll stay around and I'll pick some things up in some of the trusses, because I know the women can't, you know, they're too heavy for him. But after that, again, he's like, I'm out of here once I clear the space for you. Go ahead.
Right. He said, I'll clear the space out for you. Then after that, I'm done. But we don't realize that these people actually escaped from communism and stuff like that from Germany until he meets up with the Mexican guy who's actually who happens to be fixing fixing Homer breakfast.
Right.
But
Juan.
Yeah, Juan winds up fixing. I forgot what his name was, so thank you for that. Until Juan winds up fixing him breakfast. And so that's whenever we find out a little bit more of a background of the nuns, which is something I really do appreciate. But also, too, when Smith thinks he's getting ready to leave, the nuns are going to church.
Right.
And this is what they do it. The nuns are slick. The nuns are really slick, because this is what they wind up doing. They wind up doing this to Smith, to Homer. They wind up saying, you take us to church. You take us to mass. He goes, I'm not going to mass. I'm Baptist, damn it. And that's something that my aunt was talking about how much she loved that scene. But, you know, I loved her, and she just looks like, well, pardon me, kind of thing. Like, she was really shocked about it. Well, he goes, how have you been going to church back and forth all this time? We walk.
Right.
And he just looked at them like they were crazy. Yes. Especially being out in Arizona, and then also, too, sweating in those long dresses just to go to church. Right. That's how dedicated they were towards their beliefs. And so Smith winds up taking them in his car. And then of course, she goes, you're not coming to mass? He goes, I'm not. He goes, I'm not going to mass. I'm a Baptist. I'm going to go over here and eat. So that's when, of course, he meets up with Juan. And he goes, oh, you're not going to. He's like, oh, you're not going over to the mass? No, no, I'm not going over to mass or anything like that. He goes, look, I know what I want. And I like how the fact he doesn't even know that this guy has the stuff. He doesn't even know that he even has the stuff that he wants, but he knows what he wants in his head. He goes, I want some buttermilk pancakes. I want some scrambled eggs. I want sausage. I want bacon. I want the works. I want the coffee. Right. And I want fresh squeezed orange juice. And then all of a sudden you see Juan go on ahead, takes the orange juice from underneath the bar, and goes, wait, that's not fresh squeeze. He goes, yes, it is. I squeezed it fresh myself, senor. And he's like, right, I did it this morning. And I love that. And he has this whole entire imagination in his head of how his breakfast should be. Right. And everything, which makes it even more, I want the butter just flowing off the pancakes.
I was hungry when I was listening to that, when I was watching that scene.
Like, and just, you know what? I need to go to Waffle House.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's in his head, because he's hungry. Like, I mean, he had the Catholic breakfast, which was the egg, which, by the way, the funny thing about it was, remember, they told him he couldn't get dinner or breakfast until after mass. And remember when he was inside their little shack, their little home, how his stomach, you hear his stomach growling because he's absolutely starving, because they don't have that much. So he's literally getting hangry, for lack of better words, hangry, because he's not getting fed that much. So he finds Juan, and every time he takes them to mass, he usually goes over and has breakfast and let them do their little mass. But there are other people in that town, the village people, I guess, you know, that are going to mass with Father Murphy in like a camper. It was like behind a camper where they had mass at, because they didn't have a chapel. So you end up realizing that the goal for Mother Maria is to build the chapel for Father and for the people in town,
This
because they were
community.
strict Catholic, and the men and the families want their kids to be able to experience church. So you get that, and why it's so important to her that this
Right.
gets done.
It's totally selflessness if you think about it.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
unselfishness, it's selflessness. Because
Right.
of the fact that she's not thinking about herself. She's not for her.
Right.
It's for the
Right.
community. It's for these people who want to experience church without having to go walking about 10 miles down the road, for example, and
Right.
having to walk in that hot sun just to go to mass. They want somewhere
Right.
close. So that's
Exactly.
understandable. But once Smith winds up realizing that, he realizes, okay, I need to go on ahead and help these women out
Right.
and everything. But also, too, you know, I like how he actually goes to this other person and goes, so I need these materials right here, as if Mother Maria actually has money. He goes, what do you
That's right.
mean? He's like, what do you mean they need this? They have no money at all. And he's not the first person to tell him that either. Juan tells him the same thing, but he's his
Yes.
own self-denial about it, to be
Right.
honest. And he's like, well, we need this and this and this. And he's like, well, and I don't like how racist this guy actually sounds, because of how he actually comes
Oh,
off to be.
Mr.
Uh,
Ashton.
yeah, Ashton comes off really snobby to me.
Absolutely. He
And
was rude.
yeah, way off base, very rude. I
Yeah.
wouldn't do business with him anyways, even if I had the money. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go a couple more miles down the
Right.
road and find someone that might actually do business with me, rather than having
Right.
to deal with him. Because
Right.
I wouldn't deal with that guy, to be
Right.
honest.
Well, because
But
he approaches Sidney as, or Homer, when Homer meets him, and like you said, he's going to look for. He sees this bulldozer or whatever, and that's when you meet Mr. Ashton, and he's refers to him as "Hey boy, what are you doing here?" And so Homer's response was "Hey boy," back to Ashton, which stops Ashton in his tracks and kind of stops, and he's actually offended. And that's when he talks to Homer and is telling Homer, that's when he becomes the women's contractor, the nun's contractor, to prove a point to Ashton that he's going to make this happen.
right,
So at that point, we're building the chapel.
right. And then I also liked how, you know, so how are we going to get all these things? And Mother Maria, this is how strong she believes in her beliefs, from him, talking about
Right,
God. He goes,
right,
from him, we're going to pray for it. And, he is Baptist, but you can also tell at the same time, he doesn't really have the same kind of conviction that
right,
Mother Maria has. You know what I
right,
mean? So his beliefs are not as strong as she is. And he's like, okay, whatever. So next thing you know, he winds up seeing the bricks come in. He winds up seeing the
right,
plywood come in and
right,
things like that. And then then all of a sudden you see Juan's guys come in wanting to help him, because they see him working his butt off through the whole entire
right,
time too. And he goes, hey, you need some help? He goes, no, man, I'm good. I don't need no
right,
help. I'm fine. God is the one who told them that I was going to build them a chapel, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build them a
right,
chapel because that's what they want me. He wants me to do, not what you want. God didn't ask for you to do it. He asked me to
right.
do it. So I'm going to do it.
Right.
So,
And he was actually offended because
yeah,
when he decided to do this, he's like, I'm all in, but I'm doing this. He was offended that the guys wanted to help and told them no. So it's funny because you see the guys kind of like camping out, watching him take one brick at a time, going to do this, going to do that. And then Juan comes into town, and Juan comes over and it's like, hey, they're here, enjoying, what's going on, but why don't you want them to help you? I got this. I don't need any help. Kind of get out of my way. So they sit days and watch him do this.
right.
When
And also,
finally, go ahead.
I like how he goes, so how's the one man work going? How's the one
Right,
man army going? And then, of
right.
course, Smith is also has the "Do not touch anything" sign put up
Oh,
everywhere too.
that's right.
He's very overprotective of everything. He goes, don't touch that. Don't
Absolutely.
touch that. And then next thing you know, they decide, you know what? This guy's been working all this time, and this is no longer entertainment for us. We need to actually help the poor guy.
Right. And they do. They come and help. But they get too involved. And there's a scene where, Homer ends up he goes inside and the ladies are all happy because they're getting it done. There's a lot of people to help. They're going to get this done. So he goes inside and he's kind of melancholy. He's kind of sitting at the table and just, and they notice, what's wrong with you? You should be happy. Why don't you have a smile on your face? And he's just like, basically he wants to do this himself. This is his project. He was going to do this for you. And then you find out that he's always wanted to build something. He wanted to be an architect. So this job became an investment for him. Like,
right.
This is
that
something
gave him
he
his
wanted
drive.
to do. That gave him drive. So he then exits out. He goes outside. He sits and watches them. And come to find out, they're actually screwing things up. They're actually not doing things right. It's kind of getting screwed up. He sees it and knows what's wrong, but he's like, he has an attitude. I'm not saying nothing. You guys do it. Until he then realizes he has to step in, and then he starts giving orders and letting them know this is wrong. This is what we got to do. And then he becomes the foreman and takes over the job and starts moving it along in the right direction, which becomes fun because then, they all are working together and they're having a good time, and he and Juan becomes buddies. Yeah.
And I really like that, though. First, they start taking things away from him, and it's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be the one who does this, and here they are taking my job away from me.
Right.
But they don't. And also, too, remember whenever he let everybody go at first, and Mother Maria says, "Are you sure this is what you want?"
Right.
And he goes, "Yes, I'm very sure this is what I want." And then he finds out, and this is a lesson that that was proven to him. He can't do everything by himself. He's going to need help whenever he needs help. Right. And that was the life lesson for him. But
too much
I want
pride.
to
Way too much pride.
Definitely. And the thing I like, though, when he starts seeing them mess up and starts taking control, they start respecting him more.
Right.
And everything. And they start calling him boss. They start hanging out. And then also, too, when Mother Maria comes out there, he starts basically being a sarcastic person and standing up for his workers. He goes, she goes, "Hey, that beam is not right." And then he goes, "Yeah, you know what? After we're done with this, you guys need to go in and fix that beam because it's leaning over a little too much. So you guys need to go on ahead and lean that over. And after that, you guys need to lay more bricks down. And then after that, what you guys need to do is you guys need to go on ahead and get more clay so that way we can make more bricks." And everything. And of course, the nuns are actually enjoying it, though. The other two female nuns who actually are doing, making the cement and everything for them, too. They're enjoying it. But,
they're having a great time.
Yeah, they are. It's like summer vacation for them. But Mother Maria's like, but after Smith winds up getting onto Mother Maria and everything, she winds up letting him be. And then finally, they're celebrating that it's almost done.
Right.
And this is the part that makes me laugh. He's over there drinking tequila with them, laughing, joking. And here's Mother Maria and the nuns praying. And the next day, Homer winds up waking up with a hangover.
Right.
He goes, "Oh, you up?" "Yeah, I'm up." Slings water in his face. That was the only thing that they said that would actually work for a tequila hangover.
That's right. Because the women that were married to the men told her they do this after they build everything. They have a fiesta, they have a huge party and get drunk, so they had a great time that night and knew they had to get up early the next day to finish up what they were doing. But also I want to mention that I think that's when that next day Mr. Ashton comes around and he's shocked because he sees John, or not John, I'm sorry, he sees Homer kind of being the boss. All these people in town are working for him and they're getting it done. He shows up and he's just kind of stunned. Just what the hell's going on here? How did this happen? So Juan is there because Juan wants to kind of, have favor from God, as he says, I want to come and help just in case, they happen to be right. I want to make sure that, I get favor from God. And so Ashton ends up coming back, Mr. Ashton, and bringing over a truckload of these really nice bricks because he too wants to get in on it and help them out. which was a bad mistake because, you know, Mother Maria sees him and sees that he's bringing them more bricks and knows that I have another project that I'm going to need your help with, Mr. Ashton. And so I love that scene because she actually wanted to build a school after that. She wanted to build a hospital after that. Yeah.
So I liked how she used him to her advantage. You know what? This guy might be a jerk, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and use those bricks because we're already taken care of. We don't need extra supplies for the chapel, but we do need extra supplies for other things that I want to bring in with this community, with our church, with our chapel, have a school, have a hospital, just in case of anything. So yeah, I liked how she used him to his advantage, but I also liked how Ashton just walks in there and just impressed overall at how Smith, where Homer's just basically taking over everything and just, you know, being a good boss man and everything.
Right.
And gives him the respect that he deserves.
Right.
So that's something that I really liked. Yeah.
As a foreman on one of his other jobs, you know, and John's, or I don't know why I keep calling him John, but Homer is like, you know, no, I'm out of here after this project. I'm out of here. Thank you very much, but I won't need to be I'm not going to be taking that job. And they get the chapel built. John wants to finish up, you know, putting the cross up, you know, on top of the chapel. That was his thing. There's other people in town that are donating like chandeliers for the church, and it actually comes out really, really good. And, you know, there's fun facts here, that this was a novel, Lilies in the Field, and it was a semi true story, because in my notes I have here that the sisters, it was based on the true story of the Sisters of Walburger. It was a group of East German Catholic nuns who rooted up to start a nunnery in Arizona.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that, to be honest with you.
And also, the song, the theme of the song throughout the movie, Amen, that they sang, that was so funny when he taught them that song. The score was done by Jester Joseph, who also sang for Sidney in this movie. He was known way back then he was the composer of the whole film, and he was known to do a lot of composing for Black spiritual films back then.
That's actually pretty neat. I had no idea that
was
right. I didn't even know that was even true.
Yeah, that's all true. Yeah.
And then another
thing,
so when
you hear Sidney singing, it's Jester Joseph.
You see, I didn't know that. That's an interesting fun fact, to be honest with you. I'm glad that you actually put that in your notes, because I didn't know that this was actually kind of like based on a true story. So I find that very interesting.
Right.
To be honest.
Right. And they did, in the true story, they did pray. And there was a contractor who was Black that did show up.
Okay.
In the true story. Yeah. So yeah, they did pray for that, and a man did show up.
That's pretty neat. That's very interesting that actually happened. You would think that was just something out of a movie, that all of a sudden this guy just shows up randomly. And, you know, some people would call it coincidental. Some people would actually call it faith and God, knowing that, you know, so I definitely like that this actually happened, and knowing that this happened. So that's actually pretty cool.
I was shocked when I found out. I was like, wow, so they did come over here. They were from Germany, and they did come to build a nunnery in Arizona.
And another thing too is like, I like also too, on the evening before the Sunday when the chapel is to be dedicated, all the work has been done and Smith is exhausted. There was nothing more to keep Smith among them. So Mother Maria, too proud to ask him outright to stay, insists on that he attends the opening mass next day to receive proper recognition from the congregation. She speaks ecstatically of all the Schmidt. That's how I like how she calls him Schmidt.
Yeah, that's right.
Do the aid in town, such as building the school, making no reply to any of this. Smith tricks Mother Maria. Now, this is the part that I like. When he tricks Mother Teresa into making her say thank you by using the telegraph.
That's right. That's right.
And
first time she's ever said thank you. First time she's ever been nice, because she stayed on his ass the whole time. She would never say
Yep.
thank you. Even when he brought all that food, remember all that food when he was working for Mr. Ashton 2 days a week, and when he got his first paycheck, he showed up with this huge ham and canned foods, and he got the ladies a bunch of candy, and they were all excited. And she was pissed because she felt he could spend his money on more important things. So she would never be thankful for what he did. And there was a period in a movie where he left. He left for like 3 weeks. He was like, I'm out of here, because he was tired of her disrespect. And he happens to run into them 3 weeks later when he's coming back into town. And what do you know? They're on the dirt road heading into town to go to mass. He drives by them and then turns around, gets out of the car. Remember, he has to tie the car up. The door's up, unties it, opens up the door because he becomes their chauffeur as well, opens up the door, they get in, and then he's dedicated to finish up the job. But he did leave. And I think when he came, she was like on her P's and Q's maybe a little bit, because she knew that, okay, he will leave. Like, I didn't think he would, but he would leave. And she was really nervous and scared because she promised these people that the church would be finished, and he left before it was finished.
That's true. And I, to be honest with you, he was actually on his way out. And then I liked how he picks them up, and then he winds up bringing them to mass. He's like, I can't even get away from him if I wanted to. You could tell that he was aggravated. He's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to deal with it. I'm just going to do it.
Right. But I like when she says, when he has the glasses on and he gets out of the car and he's standing there and the people don't know. He's been gone for 3 weeks, but they don't know what happened. So she whispers to him, smile. Don't act like anything's wrong. Just smile. And him being as funny as all hell, he just, puts a big I found him to be really funny. His comedy is just, his timing is really good, but
his very comedic timing.
Funny. And they go to mass and he goes in to go and have breakfast again.
Right. But, and then I like how he leaves them, though. He winds up leaving them with that song whenever and Mother Maria knows that he's about to leave, and you can tell the sadness in her eye. You can tell without even speaking that she's sad to see him go, but she knows that the work is done, and the work is done right, and it's something that God had wanted him to do. So then hearing him crank up the car, and then the nuns are singing Amen, and then the closing scene. I had chills and emotion with that because let me tell you why. Because it's not normally in everyday movies that we have now, it's not the character that leaves off with the theme song. It's the music that's being played over the song as the movie is closing. With this one, you have a character that's closing out the movie. That's basically saying the movie is done, my job is done.
Right.
And I'm leaving these nuns to do what they need to do. And that's how they closed it out. I like how they made the character close out the movie.
Right.
Give you that final closure.
I cried at that part. I was sad that he left. I thought maybe he would stay because remember the next day she wanted him to show up for mass. She wanted him to sit in the front row, and she had planned all that. And so her being sad, and it's like they're singing a song, but she's listening to hearing him because he starts the song and they say amen. So she's listening to everything he's doing, and she can hear the door shut, the car start, and that he's leaving. I got really teary about this movie. This movie was a movie that was he decided pay cut. He got paid $50,000 and he got 10% of the profits. But he did not care because he said he believed in this movie so much that he didn't care. He cut anyway.
That's impressive. That really shows you how humble Sidney actually is. To be absolutely the only one that I know that would actually do that is probably RDJ. But still, knowing this in 1963 that he would actually do that because of how caring he is towards his to the members of the staff for the movie, that's phenomenal
Right.
to me. That's mind blowing.
Gotcha.
And did you know this movie only had $240,000 for the budget too?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it ranged between 240,000 to 247,000, and it made 3 million at the box office. And
Wow.
well, rental, well, $7, and it maybe ranges between 3 million and 7 million, give or take.
Okay. And
But
remember,
yeah,
this was a movie that he won Best Actor for, Academy Award for, as for Best Actor, and the first Black American to ever win an Academy Award.
yep, this
Male,
is
male,
this,
male.
he earned that role. He earned that Academy Award with this one.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
there's no wonder why they gave him that Academy Award. He
Right.
deserved it. He outshined every single one probably during that year, and they saw
Right.
that performance. And it's also a comedy, which is because now
Yeah.
today it's rare that comedies aren't even nominated.
Right.
So
Exactly. Yes.
so that's something that I really liked about it. Also, too, this also had Best Picture by Ralph Nelson, Best Supporting
Yep.
Actress by Lilia Skala, Best
Right.
Screenplay based on material from another medium by James Poe. Then we have Best Cinematography for Black and White, Ernest
Nice.
Haller. This thing went on to win the Blue Ribbon Awards for Best Foreign
Wow.
Language Film. This movie was just fantastic. And I'm sorry, Best Supporting Actress, she was nominated. Lilia Skala was actually nominated, not won the Academy Award. So
Mother
that's a
Maria.
little
That would be Mother
right.
Maria one.
Yep.
Yes.
Best Screenplay, James Poe was nominated, and then Best Cinematography White, Ernest Haller was also nominated.
Okay.
But the OIC award they won, Ralph Nelson won, Youth Film Award, honorable mention won, Best Actor, Sidney Poitier won, Best Foreign Language won. This movie won Academy Awards all the way across the board. And that is
Right.
very impressive for 1963. I wish the Academy would take more chances on comedies
Right.
because of the fact everything. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be doing an after show for the Academy Awards later on and stuff like that. But
Nice.
I'm just going to be brutally honest as I can be. And it's the fact that the Academy Awards, 99.9% of the time, those movies are depressing. Not only are they depressing, they're don't get me wrong. I love Gran Torino as just as the next person, but that movie's still depressing. It got nominated. Right. It had a chance to win something, but still, they don't really take chances on comedies anymore. I wish they would,
Right.
because to me, comedies should actually have a chance and have a shot at something in the Academy Awards.
Absolutely. It shouldn't have to be like you said, depressing or super dramatic and tears and all that. This movie, from the beginning of it to the end of it, it was good. It's a good family movie. It's relevant. Well, today, I mean, you could go back and watch it, and anybody could watch it, and you get the comedy. He's absolutely great on screen. He's great with comedy, and when you see the movie and the interactions between the different characters, it's hilarious. And it's hilarious how this man trying to leave couldn't leave, and these women made him stay. And it was just a really good film. I'm so happy that I got to revisit it again.
I'm happy that you gave me the opportunity to review these two films. Guess who's coming to dinner and this film.
Right.
And my second introduction into Sidney Poitier's filmography. So I do appreciate that. We will be doing another Sidney Poitier movie, and that's going to wrap up our spotlight of him for Black History Month. But we're going to do In the Heat of the Night next Thursday. Right. But another thing I want to mention is this, with everything else that I wanted to talk about too, was the fact that I love the fact that this is a classic film and that Sidney actually won the Academy Award and being the first Black actor to win the Academy Award. That is fantastic. I couldn't be more happier about that, to be honest with you. And also, too, this is also streaming on Amazon Prime, so you can stream this for free. You don't have to rent it. You can also watch this for free on Tubi, I believe, and on Pluto TV. So if anybody's wondering where you can watch this film at, that's where you can. Of course, Turner Classic Movies also might have this on from time to time or whatever, but whenever I searched for it, they didn't have it. So I was just glad to know that it was actually on Amazon Prime. and I was able
Yes.
to watch it that way. So
Right. And it's a short film. It's not 2 hours. It's a short film. It's in and out, gets to the point. You have a good laugh, and you get to enjoy a classic film. And I think that a lot of us, especially as film buffs,
right.
there's a lot of old classic films that are in black and white that you can discover that you just absolutely missed, and you can go back and laugh. And it's great for families.
Yes. It's great family time. Not only that, but you also have morals in this film and these films though too,
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
kids can learn from it. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yes.
Kids can actually learn from some of these films though too. So with
Yes.
that being said, Rossie, I do appreciate you being on the show as always. I do appreciate that a lot. Thank you for introducing me to Sidney Poitier's work. I do appreciate that. It's an honor to do this. But my question is this: where can everybody follow you at if they want to go ahead and follow you on social media and all that good stuff?
Well, you can follow me on my Instagram at Mccree123 hotmail.com. That's MCCREE hotmail.com. And you can also follow me on my Twitter at Rossie Lynn Bark1. That's Rossie Lynn BARQ1. And on my Facebook page at Rossie Lynn. Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. And so another thing too is I'm going to be another thing I want to mention is this real quick. Monday, I'm doing another show, of course, but in just a few minutes, Alex and Charlie will be on here in just a few minutes, of course, and they're going to be doing their review of the Raid Redemption. Then, of course, on March 1st, which is a Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, I'm going to be doing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 review. Monday, I'm going to be doing a revisiting of Batman and Robin with Motor City Nerds. And then that's going to be it for the remaining schedule as far as that goes. But of course, Russ will be back on with me Thursday, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time to review In the Heat of the Night. If you choose to do so, you don't have to. But if you want to go ahead and donate $5 to $10 to us, how do you do that? Just go to GoFundMe.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. Of course, you guys can go on ahead, get an audio-only podcast on all popular audio podcasts where you guys get your podcasts from. Of course, go on ahead and follow us on Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers United over there, and on Instagram and on Pinterest as well. If you want to go on ahead, follow also too, go on ahead and rate us on Spotify and also on Apple Podcasts. That allows other people to find us. And also too, go over to Good Pods. Good Pods is basically social media for podcasters like us, and basically gives us a chance to interact with you guys as fans, and you guys can also rate individual episodes, and we'll actually talk back and forth to you. Then, of course, go on and follow me underneath Movie Lovers Unit on Twitter and Movie Lovers Unit 0 on TikTok as well. Then, if you're a sponsor or would like to be on the show, all you have to do is go ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com, and that's everywhere you can follow me at. Thank you again, Rossie. I do appreciate you. And always, until next time, guys, stay safe out there. And like I said, to everybody in the Ukraine and everything, our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Absolutely.
And always, until next time, bye-bye.